Hello everyone, welcome to part 3 of my animation tutorial. Now, if this is the first video you've seen of this tutorial series, I suggest you start from episode 1, just so you can be caught up on everything we've done so far. Now, in this part, I'm going to be showing you guys how to create a body turn for your character. And you're going to need these assets that we got in the last part, which is part 2. So be sure you have the let me hide this actually. Make sure you have, not that, the back of the head asset, the back of the leg, the back of the body, the side of the body, the back of the hips, and the side of the hips. Make sure you have all of those. And I taught you how to get those in the last episode in case you're wondering. Now, how should we start this? I think we are actually going to start with the hips. So you want to come to your character, zoom in a bit, and we're going to hide everything except for the hips. Hips are right there. Hide everything except for the hips inside of your character bone. And we are going to unhide these hips. Yeah. Okay. So we'll do the side hips first, actually. And we are going to go ahead and name this side hips. And we're going to name this one, I think this is the back hips. Yeah. We're going to name this back hips. Enter. So with the side hips, when you have that selected, make sure you have the side hips selected. And make sure you're on the transform layer option over here on the left. And then we're just going to line this up. Just line it up with the middle of the front hips that you have. If you want to get a better view, you can go ahead and select both of these. So select the back hip, hold shift, select the side hip. And we're just going to move that all the way above the bone layer so we can get a better view. And we're just going to line this up in the middle. So once you have the middle, the side hips lined up, just hide that, and then we're going to do the same for the back hips. So just line it up with the front hips here as best as you can. I think that's pretty good. Now when you have those done, we're actually going to come to the hips inside the bone layer, and we're going to create a group. So come up here to new layer and create a group, and we're going to name that hips. Then we're going to come to this hips layer right here, our picture. Come over here to bind layer. We're going to unbind that. So click off of any bone you have. And then we're going to drag that into this hips folder. And we're going to come up here and drag the other hips into that folder as well. And we're actually going to put the front hips on top. The side hips should be in the middle. So we're going to put this right under the front hips. And the back hips should be last. So once you have that like that, we're going to minimize that. Click on the hips again. We're going to bind this to the hips bone. Oh, that's the wrong tool actually. Come over here to bind layer and bind it to the hips bone. And then we're going to right click on it on the hips folder. Come over here to convert to switch. And now it's a switch folder. We did the same thing with the hands on the last tutorial. So it's just do the same thing. Now we're just going to hide that, and we're going to do the same with the body. So here are both of the other bodies that we got. We're just going to drag this above the character, both of them. And we're going to name them. So we're going to name this back body. Well, we'll just name it back. And we'll name it back body. And we'll name this one side body. Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing, just click and drag these. We'll create the folder first, so we're gonna hide these, come over to your body folder, your body picture, and where is that actually? Here it is. So come over to your body picture, click on it, come over here to new layer, create a group layer, and we're gonna name that body. Drag the body into there, and then drag the other two bodies into that folder as well. We're gonna put the front body on top, the back body should be on the bottom, and the side body should be in the middle. And we actually have to line these up, so actually I'm gonna take these two bottom bodies out, put it back above the Steve folder, or the Steve bone layer, and we're gonna line them up first. So we're gonna line this side body up here, rotate it a bit, and just try to get it as lined up as possible. So I think that's pretty good. Yeah. And now we're gonna do the back. Ooh, Control Z, accidentally messed that up. And we're gonna line this one up like this. I think that's fine. Okay, so now that we have those lined up, we can move those back. Excuse me. We can move those back into the body folder. So I think that's good. So we have the hips done and we have the body done now. And we have a few more we can do here. Two more actually, the head and the back of the leg. So we're gonna come over here to the back of the head. We're just gonna name this back head. Hit enter. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna move this above the Steve bone layer. We're gonna show the head and try and line this up with the head. So I think that's pretty good. We're gonna come to the head layer, create a group, name it head, drag the head into that head folder, and drag the back of the head into the head folder under the front head. And actually we forgot to convert the body to a switch layer. Yeah, so come over to the body, right click, convert to switch. And we're going to do the same for the head. Come to the head, right click, convert to switch. And the last thing we have to do is the back of the legs. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to drag this above your bone layer. Name this back. We're not going to name it back leg, actually. We're going to name it, what should we name this? We'll name it back leg, because the other one is named B leg. We're going to name it back leg. I think that's fine. And actually, I think we need to duplicate this, because we need this for both of the legs. So just go ahead and duplicate it. And then we're going to show both of the shins. And then we're going to just line them up. So we're going to line this first one up with this. And actually, we'll name this one F back leg. So we'll just put an F in front of that. And then in front of this one, we'll name this B back leg. Front leg 2. I better erase this. Okay, so we have F back leg and B back leg for front back leg and back leg, if that makes any sense. So just line these up and do the same thing. We're going to come to this front shin and create a group right above it and call it front shin. Drag the front shin into that, drag the front back. I should have named that back shin, but that's fine. Make it a switch layer, minimize that, and do the same with the other leg. So come to the back shin, create a group, call it back B shin. Let me name that again, B shin. Put the back shin inside of that folder and the back leg in front of that folder and convert it into a switch. And now we should have all of them in the correct positions. This is just the background. And yeah, so now all we have to do is convert them. Well, we have to do the actions now. Okay, so now that we have that part done, we're gonna create the bones that we're gonna need for the body turn. So first thing you're gonna want to do is we're gonna show a grid here so it's easier to create a bone. So first we're gonna come up to the Steve folder, click on Steve, make sure you have Steve selected, or your whatever your bone layer is named. Hit Control and G, and then you should see a grid pop up. So once you see that pop up, we're gonna come over here to add bone. You have to be in the bone layer to be able to see these options. And we're gonna create 2 bones on the side of the character. So we're gonna make it 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll make it 4 grids high. And then we're gonna make one right here around the legs. Do the same thing. Make it 4 tiles high, I guess. And you should have these 2 bones here. Now we're gonna select both of these bones. Come over here to reparent bones, and we're gonna parent them both to this bottom bone here, the one under your character. So both of the arrows should be pointing to that. And the reason we did that, actually first, make sure you still have these 2 selected. Come over here to bone strength, click and hold and drag to the left so we can turn that bone strength all the way down. Now the reason we have these parented to the bottom bone is so that when we move this, they move with it. So those 2 bones that we just created, they move with the entire character. And come back here and it should go back to place. Now these bones here, we're going to use these to do the body turn. So this bone at the top is going to turn the upper body, and the bone at the bottom is going to turn the lower body. And we're not going to make the head turn with it, but you can just turn the head with the switch layer. Which, did we convert this to a switch layer? Oh yeah, we did. Okay. I'll tell you more about that later. But now that you have those bones created, we can hit Control G, and that gets rid of the grid. Okay, let's go back to the Steve. bone. And now you want to come up here to window, and you should see an option that says actions right under the library option. So you're going to click on actions, and this window should pop up. So we're going to come over here to smart bones, and we're going to click up here where it says new action, and we're going to name this, what should we name this? Upper body turn, and then click OK. And actually, before we go any further, you want to select this upper bone here, and right here where it says B18 or whatever it says here, that's the name of your bone. So select the upper bone. We're gonna call this, actually, what did we just name this? Okay, so we're gonna select this bone and name it upper body turn, and hit enter. And we're gonna come down here to this bottom bone here and name it lower body turn. And then we're going to come back here to this actions window, create a new action, and we're going to name it lower body turn. And it's already in there, so I'm just going to hit OK. Now we're going to double click on the timeline so we can go back. It might take you into something that looks like this. Just double click on timeline or main line. Now, I think, actually, just move this actions window out the way. Make sure you're in the main line, so double click on main line, and you should see a red arrow pointing to main line. So we'll just move this here or something. We're gonna first color code these bones. So I want to make sure that all these bones are a separate color than these, just so it looks, just so it's easier to identify which bones we're working with. So front hand, front arm, front lower arm. So how do we do this? Oh, color up there. Okay, so come here to the Steve layer. We're gonna select all three of these bones, the upper arm bone, the front forearm bone, and the front hand bone. We're gonna come up to color, and we're gonna color this green. So now they're green, if you can see right here. And we're gonna do the same thing here. We're gonna come to the front hand bone, the front hand layer, and you're gonna click right on the side of the eyeballs here, right on the left side. I guess that doesn't work in Moho 12. Okay, so actually you're gonna wanna come to the front hand pose, the front hand layer, come over here to this drop down menu all the way to the right, and we're gonna come to color, layer color, and we're gonna color it the same layer we have here. So we colored these bones green, so we're gonna make this green as well. So select green and apply. And now when you click off of it, you can see this entire layer is green on the right hand side. So we're gonna do the same thing with the front arm. Come over here, layer color, green, apply, click off. Same thing with the forearm, color this green, and that's that. And now we're gonna come over here, come back to the Steve layer. We're gonna select the back upper arm, the back forearm, and the back hand. And we're gonna color this, let's say orange. So we're gonna do the same thing in the layers, we're gonna color the back hand orange. Color that orange, click off. The back upper arm, color that orange. And the back forearm, orange. We'll do the head. We'll do all of these bones the same color as well. So select the head bone. We're going to come up back here to Steve. Select the head bone. Hold Control so you can select multiple bones. We're going to select the neck bone, the body bone, and the hips bone. And yeah. And we're going to color that. Come up here to color. We'll color that. Say blue. I'll color those blue. So now we're going to come over here to the head because that's the one we colored blue. And select blue. Same with the hips. Come over here to the drop down menu. Layer color. Blue. And I think the body as well. Here's the body. Color it blue. And now we just have to do the legs. So come back up here to your bone layer. Select the upper leg, the shin, and the foot bone. And we're gonna color this one. We already have orange. We're gonna make this red. So that's all the front leg items. So we're gonna color this one red. Front shin. Color this one red as well. And now we just have to do the back legs. So come up here to Steve. Select all the back leg items. Bones, I mean. And we're going to color this one, I guess purple. Yeah, purple's fine. So come over here, color this purple. And purple. So now they should all be color coded, so it's a little bit easier to see which bone you're working with. Now, we can drag this, the actions window back up here, and you're going to want to double click. Actually, come up here to the Steve layer, and make sure your character bone is selected. So mine's is Steve. Make sure you have that selected. Then you're going to want to double click on upper body turn. And when you double click on this, it should highlight. If it doesn't, you're going to want to make sure that when we created these new actions, make sure it's the same name as the bone you're trying to manipulate. So we named this one upper body turn, and we also came in here, and when we created a new action, we named it upper body turn. So make sure they're both the same name. So once you're in your upper body turn action, we're gonna come over here. Well, actually, make sure you have your bone selected, and we're gonna come over here to the left, and we're gonna select transform bone. Now when you have that selected, you can see that it creates these red circles over the bones you have created. It creates the red circles over the closest bone to your cursor. So what we're going to do is make sure we're on frame 1. Sorry about that. Make sure you're on frame 1. You can see the frames here. Make sure that says 1. And we're going to come up here to the front shoulder and click on this, the red dot that's closest to the shoulder. So this one right here, and just click it. Don't move it or anything, just click it while you have the transform bone tool selected. And we're going to do the same thing with the back shoulder. just click that top red dot. Now we're also gonna click on the upper body turn bone. Just click in the middle of it. Don't click the red dots or anything. Just click in the middle. And that should be good. And we're also gonna come over here, still on frame 1. Come over here to the body. We're gonna right click and we're gonna select just the regular body, so the front body. So nothing should change. It's just, it should still look like this. And that is the front part done. Now we're gonna come back up here to Steve and we're gonna come over to frame 2. So make sure that this says 2. And now we're gonna get into the body turn. So the first thing I want to do is come over here to body, right click and select side body. So now your body should look like this. And then we're going to come back up here to Steve and we're just going to try to move the bones into place. So make sure you have the transform bone tool selected. Come over here to the upper dot, like right near the shoulder, and I'm actually going to hold shift while I do this. So click it, hold shift, and you can move it sort of in a straight line. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to hit Control Z to put it back in place. And we're just going to try to move this where it looks correct. So I'm going to actually put this right here. And you want to do the same thing for the back arm. Click on the shoulder dot and try and move it to where it looks okay. So I think that's pretty good. And you can see if we didn't color the bones, it would be kind of hard to see which bone we're working with. So that's why we colored the bones before we did all this. And also we're gonna come over here to our upper body turn bone, click in the middle, hold shift, and drag it to the right, or drag it clockwise until it's fully in the middle, till it's a straight line going to the right. So after we did that, we're done with the side profile. And now we can come over here to frame 3, come over here to body, right click and select back body. And now go back up to your bone layer and drag your front bone, which is green for me, so we need the green one. Try and select that green bone dot. If this happens, Control Z to undo it. And I'm gonna zoom in a little. Actually, I'll just start with the back hand. So just try and grab the back hand, the red dot, or the back shoulder, and just try and move this into place to where it seems like it looks good. I think it looks good right there. Then we're gonna do the front one. Drag it up a little. I think that's fine right here. Let me see. I think that's fine. If not, we can always change it. So we have those in place, and we are actually gonna come here to the upper body turn bone, click on it, hold shift, and drag it all the way down to where it's pointing down. And I think that is actually it. So if you come over here down to the timeline, if you go on frame 1, you can see you have the front profile. Frame 2 is the side profile, and then frame 3 is the back profile. So I think with that, we're actually done with the upper body turn. So if we come back here to main timeline, double click on main timeline, and if we come over here to the manipulate bones tool, and we actually move this bone, you can see his body turns. So now we're just going to do that with the lower body. So we're going to click on select bone, and that should move that back into place. And double click on lower body turn, and we're just going to do the same thing. So on frame 1, come up here to transform bone tool, and just click these upper red circles on the upper thighs of both of the thigh bones. And we actually don't need to switch anything here. Actually, we can switch the shins. So we're gonna come over here to back shin, right click on back shin, the switch folder, and select back shin so that it stays the same. Do the same with the front shin. Right click on it, select front shin. And we have to do it with the hips as well. Right click on hips, select the front hips. Now we're gonna go to frame 2. Oh, no. Actually, on frame 1, we also have to come back to the Steve folder, select the transform, the transform bone tool, and just click in the middle of this lower body turn. And now we can move on to frame 2. So go to frame 2, make sure this says 2 here. And we're gonna come over to the hips and select side hips. We're also gonna do the shins too, so go over to back shin, select back shin again. Front shin, select front shin. And come back up to Steve. We're gonna do this lower body turn. So click on the lower body turn, hold shift, and make sure that's in the middle. And now we're gonna move these towards the middle so it looks like they're overlapping. So move them somewhat like this. And I think that's fine. I think that'll be good. Now we can go to frame 3. I think we did everything we needed to do there. Frame 3, we can just go ahead and do this lower body turn. Click on the lower body turn, drag it till it's pointing down, and come over here to the hips, right click it, select back hips. And we can change the shins as well. So back shin, change it to back leg, or back shin, whatever you called it. And that may be out of place actually. We'll try and fix that later. And we can do the same with the front shin. Change it to front back leg. Yeah, those are out of place. I'll fix that later. So come back up here to Steve. And which one is the front? The front is the red. So we're gonna do the purple, drag it towards the back. Oh, I see what happened. We didn't bind the layers. Okay, so you're gonna drag this back leg to around here to where it seems like it looks good. And do the same with the front leg. Just drag it. I'll say around here. If it doesn't look good, we can always come back in and change it. Don't worry about these lower shins. I just forgot to bind them. I'll do that later. But I think, yeah, that's pretty good. Actually, they should be binded. They moved here. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I didn't bind them. Okay, So we have the lower body turn done. So go ahead and click on main line. So you can go back to the main timeline. And we're just gonna bind these. So click on front shin. We're gonna click on this front shin leg. Come over here to bind layer. We're gonna unbind it, and then we're just gonna bind the folder to that front shin bone. And we're gonna do the same with the back shin. Come to the back shin, unbind it, and then we're just gonna bind the folder to that back shin bone. So now if we come up to Steve, everything should be good. So if we turn this, they all work correctly. And this is basically how you do a body turn. That was actually a lot easier to explain than I expected it to be. We can actually, I don't like how the legs look there, so we're gonna come back into lower body turn, go to frame 3, and we'll just come over here and try and set this up a little bit better. We'll see how that looks. Come back into main timeline. Yeah, I think I like that a lot better. You can mess around with it to see which one you like. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So you can, come into the timeline, set a body turn. You can have his arms move up like this. Let's say we want his hands to switch here. So we're coming to front hand, right click, back hand, we want this to switch as well. And if you want to change how the head poses you can set up a smart bone just the same way we set up these bones right here. You can set up another one if you want to have one for the head turn, but you can also just come into the head, right click on it, and then select back head whenever you want, and then click on it again and select head whenever you want to switch it back. I think I don't like doing the head with the upper body turn switch layer, because sometimes you want his back to show, but you also want his face to be facing forward. So you can do the head turn with the upper body turn switch bone if you want. Just do the same thing I did for the body and the hips. But yeah, that's pretty much how to do a body turn. I'm surprised that was just easier to explain than I thought it would be. So if you want to get rid of all this animation again, come over here to animation, clear animation from, actually make sure you have your bone selected. Animation, clear animation from layer, and yes. Now get rid of all of that. It doesn't get rid of the smart bones though. So yeah, that's basically how you do that, and that's pretty much everything I want to teach you about rigging your character. There's a couple other things that I'll do in the other parts, but since we have that done, we're actually going to save this character to our library. You can exit out of this if you want. And to save this character to your library so you can use it in another scene, come over here to Window, Library, and you should see something like this. We're going to go ahead and hit this plus. Saving layer to library. See, I never actually used this in Moho 12. I mainly use this in Moho 11, so I guess that's fine. So you would probably see something like this, content library folder. Just make sure that's selected and hit this plus here. If you don't see the plus, you want to come over here to edit, go to preferences, and then you want to select custom content folder. I think you need the pro version to be able to do this, but you're going to want to make sure you have a custom content folder. And then you should be able to save things to your library. And if you want to use that character again, I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm actually going to create a new file here. Just open the library, open this custom content folder, open Steve, and then just click on this steve.moho, or whatever yours is called. Click OK, and it should import your character. So if you want to import another one, we'll do it again. And then we can move this one around. And yeah, now we have two. So basically, just do that. Well, that's a way to import your character into other scenes. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to cover here. Again, let me know if you have any questions down in the comments. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more parts of this tutorial. I still can't say that word. Subscribe for updates on the future parts of this tutorial. Thanks for watching.